The fixtures had been imagined, the stadiums discussed. The nations were waiting. The Jules Rimet Trophy was ready. Then, nothing. No opening ceremony, no kickoff, no roar of the crowd, no World Cup. For the first time since football's greatest tournament began, it simply disappeared. Not because of weather, not because of politics, because the world itself was falling apart. Millions would go to war. Thousands of footballers would never return. 2 World Cups would vanish from history. Today, most fans remember the champions. Few remember the tournaments that never happened. The FIFA World Cup began in 1930. Only 13 nations made the journey to Uruguay. No qualifying tournament, no billion viewers, no global spectacle, just an idea. An idea that grew faster than anyone imagined. Italy hosted in 1934. Fascist banners surrounded the stadiums. Politics had already entered football. 4 years later, France welcomed the world. Europe stood on the edge of something far larger than sport. Yet inside the stadiums, the game continued. Players lifted trophies, crowds celebrated. Few realized they were watching the last World Cup for more than a decade. The next tournament had already been planned. Only, it would never begin. Before a single ball could be kicked, countries argued over who would host. Germany wanted it. Brazil wanted it. Some believed Argentina should receive it. Nothing had been decided. Then, September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Within days, Europe was at war. The discussion ended immediately. Stadiums no longer mattered. Airfields did. Football pitches became military camps. Floodlights became searchlights. The World Cup quietly disappeared. There was no official opening. No announcement to millions. Just silence. The players disappeared too. Not from football, from life itself. Many exchanged jerseys for military uniforms. Some became pilots. Some became resistance fighters. Others became prisoners of war. Entire national teams were scattered across battlefields. Bombs destroyed cities. Railways collapsed. International travel became impossible. Even if FIFA wanted to organize a World Cup, there was no world left to gather. For 6 years, football became secondary to survival. 1942 passed. Nothing. 1946 arrived. Still nothing. The war had ended. Peace had not. Stadiums lay in ruins. Economies had collapsed. Millions remained displaced. Rebuilding nations mattered more than rebuilding tournaments. For 16 years, only 3 World Cups had ever been played. The greatest sporting event on Earth had almost become a forgotten experiment. Then, Brazil. The world gathered again, not because everything had healed, because people needed something to believe in. The Jules Rimet Trophy returned. National anthems returned. So did hope. Yet the missing tournaments remained exactly that. Missing. No champions, no runners-up, no golden boot, no winning goal. History simply skipped 2 chapters. Those pages remain blank. Forever. Every 4 years, billions stop to watch the World Cup. The fixtures arrive, the trophies are lifted, champions become legends. It feels inevitable, as if the tournament has always been there. But history tells a different story. There were 2 World Cups that never happened. Not because football failed, because humanity did. Some trophies are lost, some finals are unforgettable, and some tournaments exist only in the silence between history's pages.